What's up everybody, Nick the Seahorse here back with another video. We all know the benefits of the pros and cons list, whether it's deciding what to do on date night, whether or not to get a dog, whether or not to get married, whether or not to use your marriage in having a family. We all know the pros and cons list has stood the test of time. And if you're running through that pros and cons list on whether or not to move to Salt Lake City, today is the video for you. We've got 3 pros and 3 cons. So let's get into it. All right, so my pros and cons may be different from you, but I'm just gonna lay down some information for you, whether it helps you make your decision to move here to Salt Lake City or not. So first on the list, pro, winter. I love to ski. I grew up skiing. It's the only thing I've been doing since I was 3 years old. Putting those 2 sticks on my feet and going down the mountain at high speeds just fills me with so much joy. So skiing, winter is a huge pro for me. The only con on that side is it just gets dark so early. So at the height of winter, 5 to 6 o'clock when it gets dark, I just want to end my day, make some nice home-cooked, cozy meal and call it a day. But I still have so many things to check off my list, so I'm doing a lot of the things in the dark, and that's okay. But it's just something you gotta get used to. Whether you're closer to the equator and you don't experience that as much, might be new to you, but here in Salt Lake City, winter, you get the snow, it gets cold, and it does get dark early. So for me, huge pro. For you, might be something different. Pro number 2, kind of relating into that outdoor recreation. You can get anywhere to jump into the outdoors, get into some nature, calm yourself down, integrate with the trees, the hills, the mountains, whatever it might be, the rivers, the creeks. We got all that within 30 minutes of your house, depending on where you live, obviously. If you're more on the west side, finding some more affordable homes outside the metropolitan area of Salt Lake City, but you know it's gonna grow, so it's still a good investment. You're gonna be able to get into some of the Ochre Mountains, there's some tributaries out there, there's some fishing areas out there, there's the West Desert, which is pretty close to you. That'll probably be within 30 to 45 minutes outside on the west side. But here in like city metropolitan downtown, Sugar House, Cottonwood Heights, anything on that east bench, you're getting up in the mountains 30 minutes. You're going to world-class skiing resorts, world-class climbing, world-class fishing, hunting. There's so many different things. I can get up to Park City in 25 minutes from where I live. So Park City's got the gambit of things for me to do. So yeah, 25 minutes to Park City, 30 minutes gets me up to Solitude and Brighton. 35, 45 minutes gets me up to Snowbird and Alta. The outdoor recreation opportunities are endless, and a lot of people are moving here because they've got remote jobs working for places here, Silicon Slopes, Adobe. They can live downtown, they don't need to commute to work all that often, so they recreate and they've got the amenities to do it. So 2, outdoor recreation, super short time frame. It's an amazing experience. Number 3, 3.5, 4-ish, economy and the cost of living. So Utah's economy consistently ranks as one of the top 3 in the nation over the last few years because we have a lot of industries moving their headquarters here. There's a lot of government jobs, there's a lot of tech jobs, Adobe, like I mentioned, Visa. There's a few new startups in the tech industry out in the Silicon Slopes, which is that point of the mountain between Draper and Orem. There's a lot of things happening right there. So the economy is booming. There's a lot of really qualified people to work in the industries coming out of the University of Utah. BYU is another amazing school. So from people graduating college and getting ready to work in the workforce, they can pick and choose whoever they need. And we're a lot of overqualified workers because we stay here for the outdoor recreation because it's such good quality of life that when the jobs do come, a lot of people are leaving some lower paying jobs to get into these better paying positions so that they can keep the quality of life and just increase their income so they can also increase that quality of life. So the economy is amazing. As far as the housing industry, We also rank as one of the top markets. We are ranked the #1 market in 2022. 1 to do with the economy, 2 to do with housing costs, 3 to do with utility costs. So housing costs are super comparable to other big metropolitan areas, but we do rank higher on quality of life, economy, and utilities do tend to be a little lower for water and electricity. So all these things considered, the housing market and the economy in Salt Lake City are an amazing place to grow a family, to start a life, to start a career, to just be here if you're looking to be single and take advantage of the mountains and live your life to however you want to do it. Salt Lake City is the place for you. If you've got a family and you're bringing them here to Salt Lake City, it's a great place for families. We've got amazing schools. We've got, again, amazing jobs. I'm sure you're moving here because of a position. And then you've also got the quality of life of all the outdoors in your backyard. So those are the pros. Let's start ticking off some cons. So #1 con, kind of funny. Kevin Durant, when they were playing the Utah Jazz in the playoffs the other year, he did mention Utah's just got no nightlife. And that may be true. We might not have the level of nightlife you think about in big metropolitan areas like LA, around Hollywood, Vegas. I haven't visited too many metropolitan areas and gone out in the nightlife. That's just not my lifestyle. But if you're a huge sports athlete or just a big nightlife person, you might not find that in Salt Lake. So that is a big con for people. We do have some really amazing bars and, that level of nightlife, some restaurants, definitely some amazing chefs, some cultural, innovative places, as well as some diversified restaurants all around the city. But we don't necessarily have the stereotypical clubs and nightlife in that sense. We've got some cool places like Quarters, arcade games for adults with the bar atmosphere. And then we also have a really big, strong microbrewery population of people who are just starting up their, their businesses in the beer sector. Distilleries as well. So we've got some really cool spirits, some really cool beers, a lot of cool bars. And then if you're a fan of, Modern Family, Ty Burrell's got his hand in a few different restaurants here in Salt Lake City. Bar X, Beer Bar, the Cotton Bottom, old classics. So we do have some nightlife, but for others who are looking for that big, poppy, showy nightlife, we don't necessarily have the big clubs that you're trying to get into. Recent con #2, and it's something that could flow into a pro here in the next few years, is the Salt Lake International Airport is quite the haul. So if you've visited Salt Lake recently or flown out of Salt Lake, it's a brand new airport and it is quite the distance running under that tunnel when you're either landing or leaving from that end terminal. So yeah, the distance and the change has really hit people hard, and that has become a recent pretty big con. If not a con, a topic of conversation that people like to mention because there really truly aren't many cons here in Salt Lake. So when we do have something come up, people tend to gravitate towards the few that we do have. And that leads us into the third. The third being the air quality. That's the biggest con for me. The biggest con, by far and above the thing that I hate most about Salt Lake City. My biggest con of Salt Lake City is the air quality. Funny enough though, it is a natural phenomenon. So our valley here in Salt Lake is a natural bowl. It's what was produced because of Lake Bonneville thousands of years ago. It just created this natural area environment that we now hold as treasure, the treasure chest of Lake Bonneville, as I like to mention. Just attracts a natural phenomenon of being a smoky environment when low pressure systems settle into Salt Lake and allows for weather to come over the top of it and bypass us without having a huge turbulent thing to stir it up and move it out. That natural phenomenon in the bowl of Salt Lake Valley fills with particulate matter from our cars, from our industries, from our houses, from all these things that we just go about doing daily life. And that creates a toxic air that is really bad for anyone and really bad for people who suffer from respiratory illnesses or anything of the sort. So the air quality can rank once or twice or a few times a year as the worst even in the world, beating out places like Beijing, which has historically been some of the worst air quality ever for days, weeks on end. Salt Lake City can have some pretty bad air. But luckily we do get systems, we do see storm systems, weather systems come through It pushes it out at least every 2 to 3 weeks. We haven't had a super gnarly like orange to red air day for multiple days on end in a few years. So it can look hazy, but that could just be the natural phenomenon. It's not necessarily filled with that particulate matter, which is really bad for people. So that's my pros and cons list. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you make your decision to move here to Salt Lake City, or maybe it helped you move away from Salt Lake City. You're gonna go find yourself some better air up in Washington or Idaho, wherever it may be. If that's something you're interested in, please hit me with the comment, or shoot me a DM on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you might find this on, or my information's all over the place. Shoot me an email, give me a call. I would love to help you or someone that you're related to or affiliated with move here to Salt Lake City, because I know and love it so well that I would love to show you around. And if you don't, I'll show you around regardless here on the next episode through these videos. I know you will. Follow me around Salt Lake City. I love you all, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.